Greetings, my name is Kyle Hermans. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Be Courageous, and I'm so excited to be here with you all today. First, I want to congratulate and celebrate you for this learning journey that you are on. The more that you apply yourself here, the better leader you become, and for that, I honor and celebrate you. Today, I'm so excited I get to speak to you about mastering your inner rock star. Every single one of us, inside of us, has a rock star waiting to be unleashed. And today we're going to talk about 6 principles that allow us to activate and master that inner rock star that is just waiting to come out and be explored. So what is going on in the world right now? There is so much volatility and uncertainty and change and speed. And my friends, this right now, as we stand here together, is the slowest rate of change you will ever experience again for the rest of your life. But here's the really exciting factor is this is also right now the youngest you will ever be again for the rest of your life, which means we have a massive opportunity to lean in with our energy and our vitality to make the changes that we wish to see in the world. And some of those include starting to move towards what we want versus away from what we don't want, and visualizing the future that we desire to have right now and our place in it. We'll also have an opportunity to look at the world through the lens of abundance versus scarcity. Instead of looking and seeing there's not enough, how do we look for the opportunities that are out there in the world for us? And in so doing, how do we move from effect to cause, to step into causality, to create the next chapter? And how do we do that? By removing the threats that we imagine are around us and start to liberate our creativity and our minds and each other to go forward and solve the challenges just like a rock star would do. And to take the risks that we need, to fall, to fail, but to use them actively as learning moments. These are just a few shifts that we can make that will start to shift our minds to balance between our creativity and innovation and allow more creativity into our worlds, and to also be able to put that creativity into action so that we can cycle between operationalizing and innovating and operationalizing. But in order to do that, we need courage. And to us, courage is a verb. It's listed in the dictionary as a noun, but we are challenging the dictionary. We believe courage is an action that you can take right now. How can you courage this conversation? Courage the rest of your day. Courage your future. We've learned through facilitating thousands of sessions all around the world that micro moments of courage activated today can lead you to extraordinary and exponential results. So what is the courage needed in your life, in your leadership, and your business today? So let's get into a few fundamentals of mastering your inner rock star. The very first one is around clarity. In order to have clarity, it's to look at the world around us and think about, how do we think about the world? Am I clear about what things mean to me? And often, the thinking that got us to where we are today is not going to be the thinking that takes us into the future. We have to shift the way that we think. So here's an example. We do a lot of work in high performance. Old mental model and old way of thinking of high performance was suffer to succeed. I'm going to put myself through a lot of pain in order to achieve the performances that I want. New mental model of high performance is active recovery. What do I do for myself and others in my environment between the big bursts of performance that I have to deliver that set me up for success? That is a reframe on how we get to think about it. So what are the mental models and the shifts that need to be present for you in order to live into the future that you desire to live into? And who do you have to become? What kind of business are you in? And what kind of future do you want to create for yourself in order to do that? Here are a few anchors that I use for myself to set myself up for the future. How do I make things better around me in each moment and each day? How do I treat myself and others fairly and equally in every interaction I step into, even if it's in resistance to what it is that we're trying to create? How do I take consequences for my actions in the world? How do I respect the rights of others so that we can make inclusive progress? How do I act with integrity in every single moment? And how do I influence yourselves, myself, others, children, family members, friends, and colleagues, and act and become a role model? Now, where can you seek greater clarity in your life? Where can you start to seek opportunities to make those shifts necessary for you to unlock the clarity in order to live into the future that you desire? Well, one of the second ways to do that is with purpose, mastering our purpose. Our mind must reach the destination before our life does, which means we have to be dreamers and imagine and start asking ourselves, what is my purpose? What do I want to achieve in the world in order to do that? Rockstars step up on stage and say, I have a message, I have a voice, I have a song, I have a show, I have something to bring to the world. I am doing this with intention and purpose. What is your intention and purpose? We have to constantly update our ideas. We have to update our perspectives, and we have to update our thinking and mental models. Because right now, my friends, you have 4 futures in front of you. And your future is going to be vastly different based on the one that you choose. The very first future is the one that you chase. That's where everybody else is leading the way and you are chasing to follow up. The second future is the future that you defend. That's where you have been and had your success in a certain way all through time, and you will sacrifice progress in order to nurture your legacy. But that does make us ripe for disruption. If we don't evolve and change with this fast rate of change, what are we defending? The third future is the one that you improve. When you look outside of yourself and you look at everybody else around you and you say, I'm going to fix those issues and I'm going to fix those problems. But what if we're fixing something that is an old mental model? What if we're fixing something that was long past overdue for disruption? That leads us to the fourth future, the future that we create. What is the future that you create? What is the story inside of you that's ready to come out? What is the thing that you want to see change and be built and created in the world around you? Which future do you live in? And which future is there an opportunity to move and migrate to? That brings us to the third principle of mastering your inner rock star, which is your relationship to risk. What is the risk of being a rock star versus the risk of not being a rock star? If we sit idle and say nothing and do nothing, are we contributing to the changes that aren't healthy? What if we step into our power and our voice and reframe what it is that our rock star wants to speak about? So we do need to reframe. We need to reframe our minds and start to seek out fragilities inside of us and in our environments that are worth solving for. And what I mean by fragilities, where are we fragile? Where have we been dependent on things for far too long? Where is the same old system got us to where we are, no longer supporting us in the way that we know how? The future is coming at us and it is going to disrupt us, and it is time for us to lean in and step into our creativity. We call this Go Viking. To step into our Viking, to step in, build those boats, cross the channels, go and find new opportunities in new lands. And in order to do that, we have to shift our spectrum of thinking. We've got to push ourselves out beyond our rational, into wishing, through diversity, into metaphors, into analogies, even out to the illegal and immoral in today's terms, to outrageous and courageous, and go out and find what's going on in those futures and start to work our way back after we've challenged our beliefs. So where in your business and in your life are you ready to take on risks and to disrupt your thinking? That leads us to the fourth principle, which is fear. Fear often stands in the way of most things that we do, and most people fear being seen starting small. That's why we don't make the changes. We've worked so hard to get to where we are, but those fears can block us from starting again and making progress in a new way. So one of the things is we have to bypass the filters that we distort, generalize, and delete out. We have to look at the world in a way which is seeing it through those lenses of opportunity and abundance. We've got to trust in ourselves and inside of our inner voice, because there are several fears that if you can recognize and you can call out ahead of time, you can build a relationship with those fears and be able to get over and through them successfully. And those 7 fears are the fear of loss, losing who you are, losing your identity, losing what you have. The second is the fear of the process. Wow, this is going to be hard to make these levels of change. The third is the fear of the outcome. Well, what if it works? What if it doesn't work? What happens to me? What happens to everything I've been building? The fourth is the fear of rejection. Well, what if I do this and nobody likes it? What if I do this and nobody likes me? What if I disrupt and upset the status quo? The fifth one is the fear of ruin. So what if I make all these changes and it ruins me and it ruins my relationships? And one of the last ones is this idea of the fear of regret. So what if I don't do any of this? But what if I do? And then the biggest thing that holds us back the most is the fear of the responsibility of the path and the journey that we're on. But here's an important factor. If you can recognize any of the fears that I've just spoken to you about, when you look at change in the future and you can feel any of that loss, process, outcome, rejection, ruin, regret, or responsibility that's standing in your way, build a relationship with it and ask yourself, if this didn't exist and I didn't believe in this, what would that allow me to go and do? So check out where you are sitting with these fears in your life and start to think about the courage necessary in order to overcome them. All right, the fifth principle, integration. Every single one of us inside, we need to reframe certain aspects and integrate all the different parts of ourselves. So one of the best ways to do that is what we call exchange and integrate. It's different from saying change management, it's called exchange management. Exchange management means that at some point in your life, you have inside of you the very components necessary for you to lead into the future that you desire to create. So imagine I want to have a confident version of myself lead my life right now. Ask yourself, when in my life have I just felt an exhilaration version of confidence? Step into that, feel those emotions and feelings. Understand where you are and how you operated, and then say, if I was going to bring that version of me forward right now, how would they handle this situation? And I guarantee you, you will see results like you've never seen before because it already lives inside of you. So where have you got the opportunity to call forward another version of you ready, that rockstar version, to go out and to make change in the world? Which brings me to this last piece for today. Attitude. It's all about a rockstar attitude. If we want to have a rockstar attitude, we've got to move from a closed mind to an open mind. We have to look at the world for partnerships and collaborations. We've got to shift to a growth mindset, being open to change and creativity in those dynamics. We have to be curious and lean into a life of discovery. We've got to look at the world through a lens of abundance, that there's opportunity everywhere. We just have to go out and create it. And we've got to step into our leadership. This is how we start to master being a rock star. So what does the rock star inside of you want to say? Who does the rock star inside of you want to be? What voice, story, narrative, change does your rock star want to come and make inside the world? So what will leave you here with are these 6 principles around mastering your courage, mastering your clarity, mastering your purpose, mastering your risk, mastering your fear, mastering your integration, mastering your attitude, so that you can go forth and courage the future, and you can go forth and courage your inner rock star. I'm so grateful to have had this moment with you. Go forth, master your inner rock star. If you'd like to get in touch with me, I'd love to hear about the pieces of this that really inspired you and that you integrated to go and make the changes in your life. And with that, I congratulate and celebrate your journey. Go forth and master your inner rock star.